Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I know that I've been sort of MIA for a little bit. I do apologize for that. Um, I'm trying to keep up with this circus of a case, with all due respect. Um, but it's pretty crazy, and we're gonna talk about it today. I added on to the title. To the end of it, Alexis Sharkey. I don't know what happened with that case. It seemed like it really died down, but now it seems to be back in the news. I'm just going to talk about it briefly, not too much, but yeah, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let me say hi to you guys that are here already. TH, Mark, Marigold, Jen. Hey, Alyssa. Okay, TCA, no problem. Thanks for listening. Hey, Christy. Hi, sweet Callie. Elfin. Yeah, it is getting ridiculous. I know. I'm amazed every single day at how many people really truly believe this stuff. But that's why I'm doing this, so I can try to wake people up. Hey, Halo. Hey, Brittany. Amanda. Thanks to everyone for being here again. Hey, Shani, my love. Megan Stein. So funny. Hey, Sour. Hey, Michael. Oh yeah, Brittany. Yeah, there's you're doing a great job catching all the symbolism and all the weird inconsistencies with this case. And actually not so weird, more uh on purpose. Oh, Christy, I'll have to get you the link for my Discord because I have it set to where it expires after a certain amount of time. So I will copy that link for you and put it in the chat as soon as I get a chance. Hey, June. Yeah, no, Elfin, I agree. It's going to be it's impossible to wake every single person up, but for the ones that do have an open mind and don't want to live in a bubble for the rest of their life, then that's a good thing about it. So you're having macaroni and cheese, Mark. You're so funny. Crack me up. Hey, Kyla. Yeah, no, Christy, I've been meaning to ask if you had Discord or not because I definitely wanted you to join and get some of your insight on things. Hey, Hard Eyes. Okay, so I won't waste any more time. We'll just go ahead and get right into it. First, we'll start with the Alexis Sharkey case. I'm just going to read a short little article about what's going on. I'm sure you guys have heard. So let me pull that up. I'm using StreamYard. I hate using StreamYard. Oh, and I did say in the title that it would be an open panel. We could still do that, but let's just play it by ear and see how it goes. Because I really, really, really don't want to go into, I was going to play the, what's his name? Brian Laundrie's sister's interview and a couple other news clips, but it's more than likely you guys have seen those already, and other people, because other people have been covering it. So I'd rather do like an open panel if anybody does want to come up. I usually don't do that because nobody really does want to. And it's difficult when everybody just wants to talk about the official narrative and not what's really going on, because in all that really doesn't matter for what I'm trying to do and for what I'm trying to show everybody. It's just a bunch of distraction, you know, to and to also point people in the opposite direction of what's really going on. Okay, Brittany, great. Yeah, then we'll do that. Then I'll drop the link. But again, I want to go over the Alexis Sharkey update really quick. I just hate StreamYard. I'm assuming that all of you guys are, or the majority of you are familiar with the Alexis Sharkey case. If not, a little brief update. Alexis Sharkey was a social media person, and I don't know what to call him. And she was found dead, like in the woods. And I don't know, again, I don't know what happened to that case. It kind of just died. But it's another one of those high profile mainstream media cases that I'm very suspicious of, that I also believe is orchestrated as well. I didn't look into it all that much or delve that deep into it at the time that it occurred. But again, it did like die off, and I don't know, no pun intended. Sorry, that's terrible. It did really, I don't know what happened with it, but some of these events are more successful than others, obviously, like the Watts case, like the Wells case, and like this Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie case. Those are much bigger than sometimes other ones for whatever reasons. I'm not sure, but I guess it just all depends on how they're orchestrated and whatnot. But when I did see this case, when it just first happened, the Sharkey case, I saw a lot of those same characteristics and a lot of symbolism, which people need to look out for with these events. And again, I hope that their symbolism will be their downfall, because you will find this occult symbolism, the numerology, like I'm always talking about, and all of those Easter eggs hidden in plain sight in all of these orchestrated events, and especially the mainstream media, high profile ones that get so much attention, especially the tragic ones. So it says from the Daily Beast, don't know how reputable this is. I can't imagine that it is that reputable, but this one had a little bit more information than the Fox article. Not that Fox is reputable either, but let's go ahead and read it. It says, husband wanted for Instagram influencers murder, kills himself as authorities close in. Authorities say they found Tom Sharkey dead as they were executing an arrest warrant for him in connection with the murder of his influencer wife, Alexis Sharkey, last year. Before I continue, I want to point something out. Hey, rear naked bloke. I love your name. I said that before, but I love it. Okay. Before I say anything, I'm going to test you guys here. What do you see already symbolic in this picture? I'll wait. I want to see you guys catch it. It's right there. I thought the fingers too. It could be something Shanny, but I'm not seeing anything with the yep. Hey Spaceman. Spaceman got it. The sign. The upside down triangle. Oh. Great Great catch, Karen. Yeah, Alexis is turned to the side. That's that one eye symbolism that we always see. It's a little bit different than just being covered, but I didn't even notice that. Yeah, great catch. So yes, but the main one I was pointing out is the upside down inverted triangle. What are the odds that all of these, or not all, but the majority of these pictures, just like with the Gabby Petito case, when I pointed out on the body cam, behind them, you see that upside down inverted triangle sign. So are they just all taking what? There's just yield signs everywhere. I mean, yeah, they're common signs, but it's just they're always in like almost the middle center frame. You can't miss them. Triangles, triangles, triangles everywhere. This with these people who are orchestrating these events. They love their triangles. Their 33s, their 13s, their 666. You guys know them all. I talk about them all the time. So when I see a picture like this and I see it's just hidden in plain sight right in front of our faces, it's ridiculous. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. It says almost a year after Instagram influencer Alexis Sharkey was found fatally strangled in bushes near a Houston highway, her husband was found dead from an apparent suicide in Florida. That's interesting. Again, I don't know a lot about this case, so I might say things here and there when I catch things, but interesting that the Petito case also takes place in Florida as well, just like Summer Moon Utah Wells or Summer Utah Moon Wells, whatever her name is. And the Petito case also took place in Utah because they like to tell us where these events are going to happen next because they believe in the whole karma thing. If they tell us what they plan to do or where they plan to do it next, they no longer have any bad karma on their hands, which is a messed up way to look at it because we would have really no idea of, or no way, we wouldn't have any way of knowing. So, but that's what they believe. So it says her husband was found dead from an apparent suicide in Florida as authorities went to arrest him in connection with his wife's murder. U.S. Marshals have confirmed that Tom Sharkey, the husband of the 26-year-old Texas influencer, was found fatally shot in the head inside his daughter's Fort Myers home just before midnight on Tuesday. He was found by Caribbean Regional Fugitive Task Force members who were executing an arrest warrant in connection with his wife's murder last November. The Lee County Sheriff's Office, there we go, seeing that name Lee again. Again, is it a common name, one of the most common middle names in the United States? Yes. But when they keep popping up in these same events that have so many inconsistencies and all of these red, red flags and the same characteristics as each other, how many times does the name Lee need to keep popping up until it's not coincidental anymore? Says the Lee County Sheriff's Office, who responded to the scene early Wednesday morning, confirmed to the Daily Beast that Tom Sharkey died of an apparent suicide. The Houston Police Department announced a Wednesday afternoon press conference related to Sharkey's homicide investigation. Authorities say Alexis Sharkey, who had over 87,200 Instagram followers, went missing on November 27, 2020, after spending Thanksgiving with some friends. After spending some Thanksgiving with take two. After spending Thanksgiving with some friends. All right, got it. The next morning, she was discovered by a city worker who had reportedly noticed feet coming out of some bushes just off a highway. And I thought that it was kind of strange because when I was looking up this information, it said on the Fox article that she was found naked. This isn't really that relevant. I just found it odd that they had to let everybody know that she was also naked when she was found. I just feel like that's not really all that important. But anyway. After a frantic 2-day search of the 26-year-old, whose friends say had recently expressed her desire to divorce her husband of less than a year, the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences confirmed her identity via fingerprints. In January, an autopsy report concluded that she died from strangulation and ruled it a homicide. The confirmation that Sharkey was killed only confirmed her friends' and family's worst fears. The way in which she was found, my child would never do that to herself. Stacey Robinault. Robin's interesting. I'm sure there's something occultic about that. Her mother previously told KPRC. That doesn't even make sense. That is absolutely foul play. There's nothing to me that suggests that this was an accident. There's nothing to me that suggests anything else other than that this was done to her. As previously reported by the Daily Beast, multiple friends said that Sharkey had a troubled relationship with her new husband, whom she married in December 2019. Her and her husband were going through a divorce, one friend who wished to remain anonymous previously told the Daily Beast. 3 other friends also said that Sharkey had complained about physical abuse and said Tom Sharkey could be controlling and manipulative in group settings. It is not clear if Sharkey had filed any paperwork to legally dissolve her marriage. But despite her rocky relationship, the self-described mentor made a name for herself on social media, posting about her trips and interests in health and wellness. Her last post on November 22nd, Sharkey told her followers about her wish to move to Tulum, saying she'd fallen in love with the sinks and overall aesthetic of the popular Mexican vacation destination. Sharkey also had about 57,900 followers on TikTok, where she spent time creating videos about hair care and fashion. In a December interview with ABC 13, however, Tom Sharkey insisted that their marriage was not in jeopardy. I did not know that he did a interview with ABC 13. I would like to check that out sometime. I'm not going to like play it now or anything, but I'd like to watch it to see if we notice any lack of emotion and all of that. And tried to dispel rumors that he had anything to do with his wife's disappearance. He claimed that on November 27th, he shared a Thanksgiving meal with his wife and that she left later that evening. I just told her she couldn't drive under the influence. She left anyhow. This is where we're at, he told ABC 13. I just realized that too. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Adding that he was confident authorities are going to find everyone that was involved. I don't need to set the record straight. I'll let it play out this way. I'll let it play out the way it is. I know what my life was with my wife. So that's about it. Not much to it. So, you know, you have the 13, the inverted triangle. And not only that, but I think it's rather interesting and convenient that this case kind of like died out, and now all of a sudden this guy who they were supposedly going to arrest for murder or under the suspicion of murder is now dead. And why I find that interesting is because dead men tell no tales. So just like Stephen Paddock in the Las Vegas shooting, conveniently enough, he also committed suicide when the SWAT team came into the hotel room. So it's convenient because with that, there's no trial. There's no, it's just very open and shut, if you know what I mean. So again, dead men tell no tales. And it almost feels like, I'm not sure yet what's going on with this Alexis Sharkey case, but in my opinion, I do feel like it's also orchestrated. And I've said it before that I'm beginning to really think that not all of them, but the majority of these high profile mainstream media tragic events like these missing persons and these homicide cases are truly, in fact, orchestrated. And I've mentioned other channels as well that are covering it. It's not just myself who is pointing out all of this symbolism and the deception in these cases and the fakery of these cases. There's many others who are doing it. So I really, really hope that people start to wake up soon. And I'm seeing a lot more people wake up or start to wake up or at least start to ask questions with this Petito case, because it's just so ridiculous. I mean, you have, like I mentioned in the last live stream, you have Dog the bounty actor who's out running around looking for this guy. You have the entire FBI out looking for this one guy when you have like the entire FBI most wanted list, and you're not seeing all this hype about the FBI going out and doing this huge search for any of those felons or murderers, right? So you have to ask yourself again, why is it that some cases get so much mainstream media attention? Hey Beth, why do they get so much over others? Why do they get so much attention when there's so many people that go missing and there's so many murders that happen all of the time? And there's probably many cover-ups that happen all the time, but we don't know about those. We don't know about all those missing people. We don't know about all those homicide cases that are getting swept under the rug due to police corruption or whatever. We just don't know because they're not getting this high-profile mainstream media attention like these other ones. So again, you have to ask yourself, why is it that these ones seem to get so much attention? And not only that, but why does it seem to really pull people in so much? Yeah, exactly. Hard eyes and human trafficking. Definitely. Hey, television eyes. Shanny, you have a friend that wants to bang Dog the Bounty Hunter? That's interesting. I hope they get that chance. Not my type. Right, Christy? Except David Bowie also, Shan's not gonna like that I say this, but David Bowie revolts me. Like, I look at that guy and I'm just like, ew. Like, he just gives me the creeps so much. It's like, I don't know why. Oh yeah, Elfin, exactly. Yeah, the human trafficking and child trafficking is such a huge, huge problem. And not only in the United States but everywhere. It's really sad. It's really, really sad because just and I try not to get all like emotional. I try to stay neutral when I do these live streams because I don't ever want to sway opinions. Um, and with these cases, you can't have emotions involved, especially when you're looking for facts. So I find that really ironic, especially in the true crime community, because the majority of people in the true crime community are always affected emotionally by these tragic events. So the fact that they're saying, and no offense or anything, it's just with all due respect, they're using their emotions to think for them, and they're letting their emotions getting in the way of seeing, like I said, facts. Um, and they're going to miss out on a lot of things, or evidence that they wouldn't usually do if their emotions weren't getting in the way. But that's why they make these events so tragic, so that people do think with their emotions, and when people are emotional, they don't think logically. All logic is thrown out the window. So that's another reason why these psychological operations, I'm just going to say it, I don't care. Screw YouTube, right? Why these psychological operations are so successful, because they really pull at heartstrings, and they really pull at people's emotions. So, and the more tragic, it means that the less likely that people are going to ask questions, no matter how unbelievable or unbelievable it might seem, or unrealistic. But yeah, Elfin, and I totally agree. Again, because, and that's what I was saying before I got off track there, but that's one of the things that I do get emotional about with these fake events, is because again, there's so many missing children and people that are murdered every single day, and who's advocating for them, who's out searching for them, why aren't their stories plastered all over the mainstream media? And that's again when it comes back to the whole, why is it that some cases get so much mainstream media attention over others? The reason for that is because all the mainstream media outlets are controlled by all of the same individuals, and they're all pushing out the same narrative. And when you have all of these mainstream media outlets that can get these stories out to a wide range of people and very quickly, that definitely helps to push the psychological aspect of these cases. And I definitely agree with that as well, Jen. A lot of these events too are done to definitely distract. So look over here, at what's going on, and don't look over there at what, to what's important. And like people losing their jobs because of convid, and people that are committing suicide because of convid. Many other tragic things that are happening because of that whole bug um, event that's been going on. So definitely a distraction. That's one of the agendas behind a lot of these, as well as fear, um, money. Yeah, that's the crazy part too, Christy, and I never understand that, and I don't judge anyone. It's some people are affected more emotionally than others by tragedy, and but the fact that it's these cases are literally letting them affect their lives, like their personal lives, to where they're crying every night or to where they can't sleep at night. That to me is in my opinion crazy. Um, Again, and I mean that with no disrespect, but these cases should not. Yes, are they tragic? Are they sad? But to let them affect your life and your personal life like that is well, I don't know what other word to say, but crazy. That not hat. I don't know what you mean, Jen. You don't hear my chickens? They're still here. Give it time. I'm sure Buddy will make himself known here shortly. He always does. I did not eat them, Shani. Not yet. Buddy is questionable, except he's such a little scrawny shit that there wouldn't be very much meat to him anyway. So there's really no point. So I'll keep him around for a while. Hey, the pink dahlia. I'm glad you made it. I agree, Elfin. There's so many things that we've been told that I'm realizing have been lies. It makes you really question everything. And I do feel like I'm in the twilight zone every single day. So what I'm gonna do again, I'm not gonna play any of the videos that I was gonna play before, because it's just so much of a circus. I mean, I can't even, I won't even go there. I won't give any more of my time to this case when I know that it's or I mean by watching like other live streams and all this circus that's going on. Um all the witnesses, again, Dog the Bounty Hunter, and the whole FBI out looking for this guy. It's just there's so much hearsay, and it's just a huge mess. So again, I really don't even want to go there with just playing the videos, because I know that the majority of you have seen them anyways. So I really don't want to go over the same content that everybody else is doing and going over. Hey, Savannah. So if anybody is interested and you want to come up and talk about, it doesn't even have to be about the Petito case. It can be about the Watts case or whatever, or just any of these events in general, then I will put the link in the chat. If not, then you guys will have to hear me ramble the whole entire time. And I don't know if you guys want that. So you guys might want to come up and talk to me. Hey, Swamp Lover. Always a pleasure. Oh, and then so what I was saying earlier too is with with the emotion thing, it helps like someone like myself or anybody else that's awake to what's going on with these events and this fakery, when because you don't have any emotions involved. Like, so like myself, I'm not going to have clouded judgment. I'm not going to have tunnel vision, or I'm not going to want to come to my just own conclusion about the case. I'm going to be able to look at things from a different perspective, whereas others that are emotionally invested in these cases are not going to be able to do that. Just so you guys know, Swamp Lover is late. He's just using that excuse that he was lurking, but he really wasn't. So we'll just make that clear. Nice try. Okay, let me get the link if you guys are interested. And Brittany, if you're still here, I don't know if you're still here or not, but feel free to come up. You're more than welcome to. I'd love to talk to you. But I definitely want to get your guys' insight on it and hear what you guys have to say about it as well. And that way I don't have to talk as much, which would be fantastic. It should be in there, hopefully. Again, I've never done this panel thing before. I've been on panel. Shan, my love, come up and talk to me. Save me. No. You guys are funny. You crack me up. There's something else I wanted to mention too. Hopefully it'll come back to me. If it's important enough, it will come back to me. Poor Swamp Lover. Are you guys attacking him? Definitely Pink Dahlia. And that's what boggles my mind too, is that like I said, so many of these people in this true crime community will say that they're just looking for facts, but then they'll turn around and say that, oh, I can't believe this is so sad, this is so disheartening, this is terrible. Again, you're going to have tunnel vision when you have emotions involved. That's just the way it is. So it's not that I am some like heartless person that doesn't have any emotion for death or murder or missing children. It's the fact that I can see these cases for what they really are, and that they are being used to manipulate and they're being pushed for multiple agendas. So I did Pink Dahlia, I did a live stream like over a year ago going over just the simple anatomy of a false flag. I actually ended up getting a strike on my channel for that, for hate speech, when all I did was simply talk about the anatomy. Wikipedia talks about false flags, but they're still able to have free speech. But nope, not on YouTube, apparently. Apparently, it's hate speech. But I did go over that whole thing about the victims. So it's interesting that you brought that up. There are different types of victims in these psyops and in these and in false flags as well. So you're going to have your knowing and willing, your unknowing, unwilling. See if I can remember these. There's one or two others, but yes, to answer your question, um, depending on the event itself, you're going to have all types of different victims. So, like your main characters in the case. So, for example, Chris Watts. Chris Watts is one of those knowing and willing, I guess, victims, if you want to call them. They're not really victims if they're a part of it, right? But they definitely know what's going on. They're definitely a part of it and aware of everything. Shanann as well, Nicole Atkinson, you know, all those main characters. Then you're going to have the ones that are your unknowing and willing, right? So those are going to be, for example, let's say some of the police officers involved. So say you're the police officer that went and handed out the be on the lookout flyers for Shanann. He doesn't necessarily have to be in the know. A lot of people think that so many people have to be involved in order to make these events successful, and that's just really not the case. The less the people know, the better. So everybody does not need to be in the know. So with like the officer that's handing out the flyers, he might not know anything about it. He could be simply taking orders from Baumhover, his superior, right? And Baumhover tells him, "Hey, I need you to go pass out these flyers for this missing woman and her children in the neighborhood." So he could be one of those, and just simply doing that because that's his job, his everyday job, just following orders from his superior. So that's going to be one of your unknowing, willing victims. An example of a unknowing, unwilling victim in the Watts case would be Bella and Cece. Bella and Cece are going to be those victims because obviously they're children. They would have no way of knowing or being a part of the orchestration. So again, those are going to be your unknowing, unwilling. Now, which ones are the knowing and willing and which ones are the others? It's difficult to say, but it's really not all that important. What's important is just showing people the deception and getting the truth out there about these cases. Swamp Lover, you're gonna turn into a chicken wing. You eat chicken wings so much. I swear. It's gonna be your new chicken. That's gonna be your new chicken. That's gonna be your new nickname. It's Chicken Wing. And all pets involved too, Jen. Yes, exactly. Dieter would be one of your unknowing, unwilling victims. And a lot of people too, they'll leave a comment or they'll say in a chat and they'll say to me, "That's impossible. There's no way that these events, they're too big for them to be orchestrated, and again, too big for all these people to be involved. Somebody would speak up." But that's really not the case either, because you don't know why someone might not speak up until you're actually in their shoes. There can be, multiple reasons as to um, why someone might not speak out about these events. One example would be maybe they signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, in order to get paid. So a lot of like your crisis actors, I don't know, I've never seen a crisis actor or whatever a contract, but I can guarantee you that they're probably not going to speak out knowing that they probably won't get paid. And even if they did, who's going to believe them? Oh, right, you're a crisis actor. Oh, sure, you were paid to do an interview about this tragic event. Yeah, sure. So they probably don't want to look like a crazy person, right? Another reason why someone might not speak out about it, maybe they were paid, like I said. Doesn't have to be a crisis actor. Maybe one of the, several people in these police departments in Weld County that covered the Watts case, maybe they knew what was going on, but they didn't want to say anything for fear of either losing their job that they, spent so many years to work to their position or to get to the position where they're at. Or maybe they didn't want to be judged by their fellow officers or their fellow employees, right? Maybe they didn't want to speak out to look like a crazy person and be pointed fingers at. A lot of whistleblowers, a lot of times people don't even believe them. So it's for the fact that people are so quick to say that someone would just speak out, that there's no way, is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Pink Dahlia, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Let me figure out how to do this. Hello? I don't know if it's working. Hey, Amanda. We'll give her a second. Well, I know, well, in that too, Callie, like as far as being paid a lot, there's actually, like, you can find before these, sorry, Jen, you can find these ads in Craigslist before these tragic events happen that say, $15-20 for actors, like a week before, and it's only $20 an hour for these crisis actors. So it's really not that much, but it's interesting that you'll notice with these events that a lot of times these officers will get promotions. They'll get promotions. I'm trying to get Pink Dahlia up here. They'll get promotions, or like DA Rourke, he was up for election again at the same time that this whole Watts case happened. So pay attention to stuff like that as well, you guys. If there's any political figures that are involved in these events that are trying to get elected again, or if there's any big events like election day that is around the same time as well, that's another thing to look out for. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous, Kelly. I agree.
Can you hear me, think?
Hi, I can.
Hi. How are you?
Welcome. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming up. Hey, Lou.
Thanks. I couldn't get my avatar to work, so sorry about that.
That's okay. I was just like, can she hear me?
I've never done this before, so
I have
I'm
not either. So
questioning
it's
what
okay.
I'm doing here, but I have had a lot of questions. Same questions you have. Everybody has about these things. And I find it striking just the things that we average Joes are able to spot and pull out of these cases. It's remarkable.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm actually seeing, as I mentioned earlier, that I've noticed with this laundry case is that even people that are not like really awake to these events, they're going, this doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Why is the timeline not adding up? Why is there so much like just they're just starting to pick up on little things like that, which is I think is good. So
I agree, and I am part of other groups, true crime groups and whatnot, and have some personal relationships with some of these creators. And they are puzzled, but they just can't. How I feel about it is like they just can't let their minds take that next leap, you
Right.
know? But they
Exactly.
are puzzled over these things. And that's why there's so many videos and so many hours going over Nicole Kessinger and this Gabby Petito case. It's just too many unanswered questions. And there comes a point where things don't add up in a way that it's not necessarily law enforcement, like what they're withholding to be able to nail down a suspect or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
it's
yeah.
just bizarre stuff. And that's why I asked, like, do you think, and I kind of missed some of what you said because I was trying to figure this thing out. But, um, my question was, do you think that they're actors or that they are just unknowing, quote unquote, victims of these events? That they are manipulated themselves to do certain things or paid to do certain things. I absolutely believe when you look at the UFO quote unquote conspiracy,
Hmm.
look at how many people were murdered, ridiculed, their careers were destroyed over defiance that they were even a real thing. And now
Right.
they're saying it's a real thing. So, I mean, just that alone should tell people you cannot trust what they're telling you. We are cattle to them.
100%. Sheep, they like to call them too.
Yeah, sheep.
Um,
I just think of it when I look at the justice system. That's all I can think is it's like running cattle through, because it's a
Totally. I
business.
agree.
Yeah.
But
So
to answer your question, I mean, I did go over it a little bit, but that's okay.
sorry
I'll
about
just do
that.
it in a nutshell here. But yes, there are um different victims when it comes to these events.
Yeah.
So you will have victims that are unknowing
Yeah.
and and willing. There's ones that are unknowing and unwilling. Knowing, willing, and then there's another one that I can't remember, but and I mentioned that I did go over the anatomy of these false flags and psyops, and I actually got a strike for it. Um,
Oh, jeez.
like months later for hate speech, which is weird that I simply just went over the anatomy of it. But so yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm glad you're asking about the unknowing or the different types of victims, anyways. So,
And I
but
believe it could be a variety of things. I
oh,
do.
definitely. So, but it depends on the event. So you're going to have these different characteristics based on each event. They're going to be catered to it. But for the most part, you're going because all events different. You have school shootings, you have terrorist attacks, you
Right.
have Capitol riots, you have virus scares, you
Right.
have homicide cases, and
Threats of
they're all
war to
different.
countries that have threatened to nuke us. I mean, seriously, there's just so much going on. And I think when you keep people in a state of confusion, look here, don't look there. I mean, there are
Exactly.
so many examples of it through history where, and I'm not going to get into that specifics, but I think everybody kind of knows what we're talking about here. There's many examples through history where it was that very scenario of just manipulating a society to do to bend at their will. And when you strike people emotionally, it's much easier to control them or to sway them.
Definitely, and with fear as well.
Right.
That's one of the best way to control people is with
Yeah.
fear, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, they want people to be constantly in fear all the time.
Right.
Um,
I question how, I mean, I follow true crime forever, like since I was 12. And my mom and I always, started out watching the ID channel and all of that. And I've even noticed this ramp up in it being, I don't want to say trendy, but it's capturing people's attention because there's just so many things that happen. But I agree with you. There are ones that stand out. And Richard Dolan, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I am.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
a
what you're
great
doing.
researcher, and he hits it at the angle of the lens of history, the lens of government. Not, that's what he started out, a historian, and as he was going through all these documents, he kept seeing this common thread of UFOs being mentioned, and then that grabbed his attention. And he talks about FFs all the time, or not all the time, but he also is careful think he's had some strikes. So I'm just not clear on what the rules are, so I don't want to overspeak
Well, if
here.
you'll notice too, as far as I know, he's not on like social media anymore. So the ones that aren't on social media are the ones that are probably going to be, you still have to be careful about, I've got a few comments here and there after, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Mm-mm.
I, I've I had a few comments after my call for an uprising when I played his video, and
Yeah.
they're pointing out that he's using the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, and he could be controlled opposition, or just like Oli Damengard, or just like RV Truth. It still comes down to, you have to. I mean, they're still speaking a lot of truth. So like Alex
Right.
Jones, he could very well be controlled opposition, which I do believe.
Yeah.
If anybody's still on mainstream media, like I'm saying, or they still have a voice,
Yeah.
when YouTube is censoring people left and right,
Yeah.
why are they still allowed to have a voice if they're pushing the same truth? But
Well, he said he has gotten demonetized. So he had a video he was saying he was talking UFOs, and then it got to that subject, and he said, well, I'm not going to go into detail here because I'd really don't want my video demonetized or something like that. He addressed that very fact. So I think he was willing to do it, go over it in some videos, knowing he was going to get strikes and whatever. I don't personally know how that all works, but he does mention it in some of his videos, and he is still current on, does still have his own YouTube channel.
oh,
But
I didn't realize that.
yeah,
I normally go to his website, but
yeah.
no,
Well,
yeah,
he's
he's
trying
good.
to get it more to members, I think, because he can speak freer. So, but that's
Right. Yeah,
alarming
that
in
makes sense.
itself. I am not even like a highly political person, but that's alarming in itself. Just what I see as an average person of censorship on YouTube. It's shocking.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's so ridiculous, and it's only
I
going to
can't
get worse.
imagine how you feel on the inside of that. That's so got to be frustrating, but
It's very frustrating, especially when, new people come into my chat or new viewers, and they're like, why don't you just say your theory? Why can't you just come out and say it? Why are you like beating around the bush? And it's like, I'm really not. I just rather not, even though my channel's still small, I'd rather not lose my channel, because
right.
you are constantly walking on eggshells
Yeah,
with YouTube.
I can
And
hear that when you talk, like you try to be so careful. And it's like and even with true crime, they make up words for different crimes. Why is it that you cannot say the word of a crime? That is bizarre, you know? So they say ape or SA. And again, I think you guys know what I'm
oh,
talking
like
about.
they're too scared to say like Nicole Kessinger or something, right? Because
Well, they
or when
say
the request
NK.
for
Yeah, they say they
right.
give initials, or they so like I'm just gonna say, like when someone's assaulted, I hope you don't get dinged for that, but they can't even say that, and especially if it's assaulted in a particular way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just
We
crazy,
shouldn't have
especially
to.
in
We should
instances.
be able to talk about these things. These are realities in
It
life.
is reality, yeah, and there's so many more things out there that are so much worse.
Yes, and it's just
But
bizarre to me, but I, like I said, I just wanted to let you know that just as an observer I see it, and I'm not in it like you are. So it
well,
is
yeah, it's
shocking
definitely
to see.
frustrating.
And
But
I
even with you know, call for an uprising that I mentioned and RV Truth, they say the same thing. They're like, I'd rather just not go there. I'm not gonna. I can't talk about that event that happened in 2012, right?
right
That
in
tragic
Nevada.
event. I'm just not gonna go there. It's just not
Right.
worth it.
Right.
So it's not just. I just want people to know that it's not just me that I'm saying. I'm calling that event, Mandy book. Like I know it sounds crazy and ridiculous. Like
No,
just
it
say
is
it.
not
It's an
just
event, but
you. I read an article. I had a friend who wanted me to look at that case because I had heard about it, but I had not really paid any much attention to it really. I didn't dive into it at all. And he asked me to look at that, and I tried. I started to try, and I was met with articles of that's just shut down on YouTube. And that's like, okay, that's got to be telling in and of itself. And I think those are the kind of clues we need to look for. It doesn't mean it means only one thing, but I do think it's a foot in the door to realizing that it's not quite what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm
exactly.
sorry I'm talking so vaguely, but I just am nervous just to
No,
be on here. But
you're doing
also,
great. You're doing way better than I did my first time, that's for sure. I couldn't even get 2 words out.
oh, I don't believe that.
So,
But
no,
I hear
it's
you because
definitely
I've watched the other two as well, and it's just it's an odd thing to yeah to realize. Like, my goodness, like, relevant words cannot even be said, or people's, who are doing this as a job or just your time or whatever, it's they are going to take that from you.
right,
And
and I'm not even monetized, and I'm nervous about it, and these other,
yeah,
these other channels with a lot of other subscribers are monetized, and they probably do use it as some sort of income, so I can only imagine how difficult that is for them, but I
right.
just wanted to get back to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no,
you
that's
have to
okay,
pull
I was
me
just
back to the subject.
as far
Sorry.
as, like the controlled opposition thing goes, you just have to, that's why it's so important, like I always it sounds so cheesy, but to think for yourself
Hmm.
and try to decipher which is truthful and which is not, and just maybe these other channel creators are controlled opposition, but I do promote their channels because it's important for my viewers to know that I'm not, again, the only one that's pointing out this fakery and symbolism,
Right.
and
Well,
that's
I
what I
wanted to
wanted to say
kind of
about
get
that.
to that. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. I kind of missed parts of the beginning of this, so I didn't know if you had a specific subject you wanted to talk about.
No, it's I put open panel for Petito just because, again, I didn't, it's such a circus that I don't even want to even go into all that hearsay drama stuff.
Right.
Especially since so many other channel creators are covering it, and if especially with you guys in true crime, I'm sure that you guys have more than likely already seen it. So I
Right.
really don't want to go, just like with the Watts case, all these channel creators are going over the same body cam footage, the same discovery, the same, and it's like, where are you going with this? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing, and yet people are still, like, eating it up, and they've seen it hundreds of times, and there's nothing wrong with that because I've watched those interviews and read
Right.
the discovery many times, but it's just too much for me. But and it's just, I'm not going to play videos. I mentioned Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm not going to play like his videos. It's really
No,
not
I
relevant.
honestly I have not even watched them because I'm just like, this is getting just to be too much. Like, so I haven't even followed that that part of it, and I really haven't been. I've because my friends are covering this, I want to give them support, and so I watch their videos and you know talk with them and stuff, but I haven't gotten absolutely like you know stuck in Gabby's case like I did in the Watts case, and
Yeah.
um I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, or if you're just kind of done
And
with that
and I
too.
I I was just in Zav's chat. I think Zav is great. I think
Yeah,
she
she
always does
is.
an amazing job, and I'm always supportive of her.
I adore
And
her too.
Melissa Jade, she allows me to have a voice on her channel, and I pretty much, those are the only uh, as far as I can think of off the top of my head, those are the only 2 channels and I'm still even, um I don't go crazy into my theories even on Zav's channel. I just
No, I've
there
never
to
seen you do
support her,
that. You'll make a few
and
comments and that, yeah.
yeah. And so those are the only 2 channels left, really, where I haven't been blocked
That's
or banned, or where I don't feel
crazy.
uncomfortable going into chat. So
Right.
I definitely agree with supporting other channel creators, and
Yeah.
as well as yourself.
Right.
So,
Well,
and we can have differences of opinion. So when you're
for
getting, like,
sure.
when anyone's getting blocked, or if I'm getting blocked for simply having a different opinion, that's, a huge red flag for
It
sure.
is. It is. And, it may just be people that are so closed off that they just cannot hear, something different than their own train of thought. I don't know. But yeah, I when I've heard you say that before, that you are so limited on uh to even be in other channels chats, I was like, that is messed up. Like, what, if we all just say the same thing and think the same thing, we're doing exactly what they want.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I thought true crime was about, discussing facts and
Hmm.
theories. And so it's like,
It's about coming up against these challenges and thinking outside of the box.
right.
And so to be blocked is just saying, I can't think on your level is how I would take it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
and
just,
like you said
that's
earlier, it's like people
troublesome
just,
too.
yeah, they just don't want to go there. They don't want to go
Yeah.
outside their comfort bubbles, and that's,
Right.
and I understand that, but
It goes back to what you just said about the continuous videos on these things. It all comes back to the fact that they do this because I think, particularly with these two cases, is because it just doesn't make sense. And they go over it and over it and over it, trying to figure out what they missed. And I think they're not going to get the answer because, that's where it's left to the realm of speculation. How on earth has NK been able to hide this entire time? No
right,
one has seen her. Does no one think that's odd? I think that's odd. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you have to have resources in order to disappear. And I'm sure she had some savings and this and that. But when you go over a number of years, um, I just can't believe that she doesn't have some sort of help. Um, and the kind of help that can get things done. When I was watching all this Gabby Petito stuff was going on, and I had clicked over to Plunder, and she had a video up just recently about, I think it was around, I don't know, beginning of this month maybe. And it was about, and I couldn't believe this had never been pulled up. Maybe they sealed it and it was only available now. I'm not sure. But she pulled up Nicole Kessinger's arrest record from age 19. She was just drinking and smoking pot like normal teenagers
mm-hmm.
do. And but the difference is that when the cops, because they got a noise complaint, and when the cops came to this glass sliding door, all the kids are in there, and she apparently, according to the police report, she would not open the door for them. Just complete defiance, not scared of police, not scared of, like, most kids are just thinking, oh crap, my parents are going to kill me. And she's there going, no, I'm not opening the door. And they literally had to break, and she was pulling this kid's arm back. All these other kids are screaming for her to open the door, and she refused. Now, that to me is just a little bit beyond defiant. To me, that tells me, and I could be completely wrong here, but what it says to me is that she doesn't fear the police because she knows she doesn't have to.
Right.
And I feel like she behaved very much that way in those interviews in the Watts case. She ran the interviews and she changed the subject. I've just never seen anything like that. And again, it tells me there's a reason she does not fear them, what they could do to her, because to me, that just speaks to, and again, I know that's complete speculation, but it's just looking at it in a
No,
behavioral way,
and I see what you're saying, but if if we look at it from a conspiracy,
I hate that word, but it's the only one we have, right?
what's the well, it's pretty interesting that if you'll notice too that there's some of these channel creators, and I don't know who you watch, and I don't, if anybody does follow me, I try not to mention other channels or talk bad about any other channels. That's not what I'm about. But I have noticed that there's certain channels, especially the bigger ones, especially in the true crime community, that seem to always get that breaking news or bit of information that people have either searched for themselves or they've requested through Quora or FOIA requests. Didn't get it, but this other big channel creator just happened to get them.
Right. Again, I don't think that's a mistake. I think they want certain information put out,
or that supports the narrative, and they want
exactly.
Right, exactly. The Nicole Kessinger is that way, just like you were saying. That she undermines authority and whatnot.
Which is like, I'm not saying that people aren't like that. Sure, they are, but I just sort of feel like most people in the end don't want to end up in jail. But it seems like she knew that she wouldn't, you know? And I could be so totally wrong. She could just be an average person that made a big mistake and has, been able to go off the grid and not be noticed by anyone in the last 3 years, but that just seems so strange to me.
Well, that's another one of those things that I pointed out too. And with the Las Vegas event that in my opinion was orchestrated as well. And I
Exactly.
actually followed that case from day
Yeah.
one. Not as much as I
I
did the
did
one.
not. I did not. But my friend who's really into firearms, he's not even into true crime. He's into firearms. And he was like that he caught wind of that and he was like, that makes no sense.
Right,
And
exactly.
I don't
All the things,
claim to understand ballistics and stuff, but he does. And he just said, look into that. That doesn't make any sense. So
well, even though they're two different events, both tragic, one's a mass shooting, Watts is a family, a familicide case. Um, they all have the same characteristics,
right.
and these are the characteristics I talk about all the time. That because I didn't know. I mean, I had suspicions about like Maddie McCain, and by the way, oh my gosh, I'm being a space cadet. We were just talking about him. What's his name? He does a great job on it.
Richard Dolan?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
does
Sorry.
he does a great job breaking that down, especially with Peter Hyatt,
Right.
whom
And he's
I'm a
kind of
little
like, if you don't know what that is by now, then I can't help you. That's so
right.
funny.
But so I had my suspicions about like John Bonet and Maddie McCain and
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson,
Yep.
and I thought that maybe they're just cover-ups, but I never really went there thinking that they could possibly be like orchestrated to
Exactly. I was
manipulate
just going to say, those are his words, orchestrated event, because you get a media blitz. You get from all angles, you just get inundated with these events.
And
And
they're right, and then there are ones that have a lot of holes and inconsistencies and
yeah,
don't add up, and more questions and answers in the end,
exactly.
if there's ever an end to it. So I had my suspicions about those, but and it was just by chance that I happened to find out about the Watts case. So I probably would not have heard about it because I really don't watch the news, and unless it's other
Yeah, me
channels
neither. Me neither.
exposing the lies from the news.
Right.
So it was just by chance, and here I am now, 3 years later.
I
Thank you
know
so
it
much,
gets in
right?
you like a bug. I swear it's like a parasite.
So
But
by chance, I just so happened to see the Dr. Phil episode because I was in Colorado,
yeah.
and it captured me just like everybody else. I was like, oh my god, this is horrific.
Yeah.
This is sad. How could this guy murder his entire family, kill his wife, bury her in a shallow grave,
Right.
dump babies in oil tanks, and so the same way it pulled everybody else in, it pulled me in as well.
Right.
But when I got home and I started to watch all the the Shenan's videos, the Coonrod's footage, uh, reading the Discovery, I found out that there was a Discovery release. So I started to notice these same characteristics, like with Las Vegas and with
Right.
these other orchestrated events. And so I was duped as well. So when it wasn't right away that I was just like, oh yeah, this is an orchestrated event, in my opinion. It took a few months for me to realize that, but with over time, like I said, I kept noticing all these same red flags, even though they are two different events, because they will use that same itinerary and those same characteristics in the majority of these events, and that's how you're going to be able to spot them, and that's what I'm trying to point out to everybody.
Yeah. And
And
I
they are
agree. I
going
mean,
to
and you start with an uneasy feeling. Something just doesn't seem right.
right,
And
exactly.
the
It
more
goes
you
with that.
noodle over it in your mind, you're just, you do have to sometimes take a step back, I think, but I I agree with you that you see certain indicators in all of these. And it's just I don't know what's to be done about it. I don't know really, you know, I just know that it's happening. That's all I can really say because
Right,
it's sort of like what do you do as one person? Well, I suppose what you're doing, but I guess you have to have that in you to do it. But it's just I try to talk to the people around me. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, and I just think they all have blinders on. They don't want to see because they're robots and they don't want their life disrupted. It's just like life's
exactly.
hard enough to just get through. And I'm just one that I'm sorry, I don't feel like going through the rat maze. Like I just don't want to live that way.
Right. And why would anybody want to be duped? Why would anybody want to like cry over these cases and let them affect their lives? And why would you want that? So it's kind of shocking that more people are not more open-minded
Yeah.
and
But you know,
because I'm more
I'm
the person like
50.
fool me. I'm like more fool me once, shame on
Right.
me. I'm that kind of way, and
Right.
it's kind of like you have to swallow your pride and know again that we've all been duped. So I've been
Exactly. And it
duped.
makes you
Even
feel so stupid. But then when you step back and realize the mechanisms in place to achieve this, you you do. I mean, I know at least I felt like, well, at least I was able to be a little bit more aware. You know, I have, like, when I started realizing this stuff, like I said, if you try to talk to just the average people around you, you're told you're crazy, you're overthinking it, whatever, and they're just completely denying that there's anything to that. And and so you just go through your own sort of mental thing with this stuff. But I think if you can come out on the other side and see it for what it is, you can at least make better choices going forward. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm not even sure. I voted the last two elections, but I feel like, what is the point? I question these things all the time. I live with my mother. She's 80. She has some illness. And
I'm sorry.
so I got the vaccine. And I'm like, why did I do that? I did that because I was pressured into it. Who wants to live with the guilt of your mom dying because of something you refuse to do?
Yeah,
I mean, just that threat alone is powerful. And it
and
worked on me.
that's and I don't blame you, but that's how they that's how they're controlling people
Yeah.
is
And
again with
believe me,
fear, and
I
it's like
hope I hope
go ahead.
I don't get in trouble or get you in trouble for saying this, but don't be fooled. They are willing to make sacrifices. If you know what I mean.
Hmm.
It's they are not above actual people losing their lives. That is just collateral damage. If you look at all these events, there are real people affected. But I so agree with you when you talk about how it opens up for new laws to be passed. I had sent you a note a while ago and I said, I'm putting my money on they're going to try to introduce a law that they can detain a person of interest rather than them being a suspect, right? Because they put all that attention on the fact that he was not arrested when he came back. I'm talking about Brian now.
Yeah,
That he was not arrested when he came back without her in her van, right?
yeah,
That alone blew my mind. I thought, oh my God, I cannot imagine cops not being all over you, you
right.
know? And then saying they knew where he was and all this stuff.
And then
And
now he's just lost. Like
then he's in the wind. And it's like,
right,
so I bet you, I mean, I could be wrong again, but I'm putting my money on the law being the ability to detain people before they have, the evidence they really need
and
or
that's
the
really
charges they
interesting.
really need. Yeah. And
That's
at least be
interesting.
able to hold them until they get what they want. Right.
Um, yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm not positive what the agenda is
I
besides
don't
like
know. I just
the
feel
typical
that's just a feeling
distraction.
I have. Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's a really good possibility. And just like with Chris Watts with that whole termination of pregnancy thing and the
Right.
petition that Nicole Atkinson and Nicholas Atkinson had already posted on their Facebook on that petition.org only 5 days after August 13th, it's really suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Watts was, just barely even confessed to killing just Shanann. He wasn't
Right.
even charged yet. And here you have Nicole Atkinson and others that are pushing for that for Chris to get an extra charge for Nico.
Right.
So it's going to benefit the government in some way or law enforcement for sure. And so
Right.
that I'm glad you mentioned it because that's look up on petition.org. Like they've got a petition for Summer Wells going on now.
I
To
did. I actually that popped into something on my one of my devices, and of course, it was about. Now, listen to this, because as I'm saying this, I'm realizing why it came up, but because I'm constantly looking up stuff about Nicole, right? So that pops up. What was it called again?
petition.org.
Yes, that popped up on somewhere on my phone, And I gotta plug that in, by the way, real quick, or we're gonna get disconnected. Um, and I can't tell you, I never got to Nicole's petition. I had to sign 50 others about all these other different things. And I finally just checked out of there. I was like, what is this all about? This is crazy. And I thought, of course, it popped up to me about Nicole because the algorithm's picking up that that's what I'm looking up. And I know that's common knowledge, but it's creepy. I'm sorry, but it is. My mother-in-law and I were sitting having coffee outside one day, and we didn't have our phone. We weren't using our phones, and we were talking about something kind of oddball, like horses or something. Like, we don't have horses. And the very next day, I started getting ads for all the stuff for horses, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is so creepy." I know it's very off the topic, but
No, it's
it's just
yeah,
all part of it,
I've talked about that before on my streams as well. Anything, and that's this little off topic, but it has to do with an agenda that I also think that they're using, and they use these psychological operations to sway opinion. So anything that people are talking about in these live stream chats, whether it be true crime community or anywhere on social media for that matter, everything you say is being documented and it's being saved. Like, so that could potentially be used against you in order to
right?
sway your opinion. So it's always one big like social experiment. So when I see people in chats talking about really talking about their personal lives and like going deep, it boggles my mind because again, everything you say on social media is documented. And one example of what you just mentioned about like the horses, so Facebook, there was a video that I saw where a couple did a test about Facebook spying on you. So even when you don't even have Facebook pulled up, or it's not even in the background, it's just on your phone, like Messenger or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Or not Messenger, but just Facebook. They did a test, and they just, for a couple days straight, they would randomly talk about cat food or cats. So they're like, "Oh, hey, honey, do you want to go get some cat food? Okay, what kind of cat food? Cat food, cat food, cat food."
Right.
Well, the next day or two after that, right when they log into Facebook, there's an advertisement for cat food.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's another example, and it had to do on one of my Chris Watts videos, and I mentioned to one of my subscribers, it was just completely random, and they had mentioned that they'd never seen Home Alone, and and I said, "You've never seen Home Alone? That's like my favorite movie when I was a kid." And
Right.
then literally the next day, on my recommended videos, it wasn't around Christmas time. I never searched Home Alone videos on YouTube, like, ever.
Right.
And it was a video for a Home Alone video in my
Jeez.
recommended. Another time, I'll give you one more example.
Oh,
Um,
my word, Megan.
yeah, it's scary.
It
And
is.
there's another time where I was with someone, we were in the same room, and we were watching a movie, and briefly I mentioned, um, uh, I'm trying to remember what it was. It doesn't really matter what it was. I think it was like Alice in Wonderland or something.
Right.
And I mentioned something about Alice in Wonderland being crazy. And the next thing on, actually, it was like 2 hours later on my YouTube recommendations, there was a video recommendation for Alice in Wonderland. Never searched it, briefly mentioned it. I didn't even have YouTube pulled up. It was on my television.
That's just so
What are the odds?
wild. When you think about that, if I may bring up Richard Dolan again, just because he's just very
No,
smart
I
guy,
love Richard
and
Dolan. I
whether
think
no
he did a
what matter
great
what
job.
his position is, he's still an intelligent person. But he said it's his feeling that we are headed toward a total totalitarian technical civilization where they know what you're thinking, what you're, like, there's zero privacy, right? And I can see that. I can see how, I mean, me included, my phone or my face is in my phone all the time.
Oh,
But
me too. Yeah, it's bad.
it is. And now with 5G going up and everything, I mean, I heard about that a long time ago. We are the only country in the world, and I, again, don't quote me, but at that time, We were the only country in the world that had zero policy on it, no laws whatsoever. And there are people being physically affected already just by 4G. Burnt skin, nails coming off, hair falling out, terrible migraines. I mean, cancers, just all these horrible things. And there's a
Yeah,
documentary I saw on this group of people that moved to Kentucky because there is no, it's a one little area that there's no, they're not allowed any Wi-Fi, no cell towers, nothing.
yeah. I
Now,
think New Mexico too is the only one that's not allowed to get that five. You know what?
yeah.
Because
Oh, is
they
that one thing you
the
can't say here? I'm sorry.
no,
Jeez.
no, that's fine. You didn't say it, but that's again,
Oh,
yeah, that's one of
goodness.
those things that shall not be mentioned. And you know what? If they take my, if they give me a strike, then so be it. Like I'm,
If they do,
I've been a lot
we'll
more transparent
we'll
in the
figure it
last
out.
couple of months that I've been in the past like 2.5 years because I'm tired of having to worry about everything I say. I'm tired of having to reword everything, and I'm not definitely
Here's the
not going to
bottom
censor
line.
my
You shouldn't
subscribers
have
or my
to,
viewers. It's one thing to censor myself, but I'm definitely
right?
not going to censor you guys. So don't even worry about that at all.
Well, here's the
And again, I'm
thing.
not
It's like
monetized, so
if you can't even just talk about things that the news are talking about, like how, I just don't get that. But again, I don't want to get stuck on that subject. But one thing that I am so kind of fascinated by is the, I'm fascinated and I'm also just like perplexed is the symbology and how far it goes back. You know, I don't know if these current world leaders or whatever are recycling some of that or if they're following those traditions. It's hard to say, but you still see it. You still see the symbology everywhere. And it's, I mean, to, okay, so to go back to the Petito case, when you get this close up image of the cop's hand with the 666 on it,
mhm.
it's like, what is going on here?
And
Um,
yeah, that's that symbolism that's hidden in plain sight. And the funny thing about it is it's not
right.
even hidden.
It's right in
And
your face,
it's
whether you see it or
how long
not.
was that last the last few minutes of that body cam footage with that car ride? It was at least like 10 minutes, I think, because I thought it was over and it kept going. And I'm like, oh, here we go, another like Christopher Watts and Ronnie Watts being transported body cam. It's like stuff like that. It's like, why do they need to show us all that? But it draws people in and makes people mad, and the cops being all friendly with him, right? So people are gonna
That
get mad
was
about that.
bizarre.
And
You know,
literally 666 right there. And
yeah,
I'm hoping, I always say this, but I'm hoping that the symbolism will be their downfall. And even if you don't do the symbolism thing, people are still starting to notice that things are not making sense with a lot
right.
of these cases. And so that's a good thing for
When I
sure.
watched that body cam, Megan, all I could think is, are they friends? Are they in a like? Are they in a brotherhood or something? Like, are
That's
they
not
part of the same
exactly, and
fraternity?
that's not, yeah, and the cops like saying, "Oh, do you want water?" I've never had a police officer offer me a bottle of
Never.
water when I've been pulled over. It's like, "Excuse me,
No,
have you been drinking and how many?
no.
And get out of your freaking car," right? It's like,
And
okay,
Megan, what is the first question you've ever been asked when you're pulled over?
driver's license and registration,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you.
Exactly. Yep. And
And
they
we don't
never
see
ask
that
that.
here. And it
That's
does not make any sense. That does
and
not
the
make
majority
any
of
sense.
people will never question that. That's the thing. They will just see that body cam footage and they will just believe it's real. Not even, and you don't even have to be a police officer. Like you
No.
notice, and I've noticed, and many people notice that that's not how it works. And I mentioned it
No.
before too. Is he said right before he pulled Brian over that he thought that he was under suspicions, or he was under the suspicion that he was under the influence of alcohol or some sort of
Right.
substance, right? But
Right.
never once did he give him a sobriety or her a sobriety test. Not
Right.
that he wasn't driving, but if you're pulling someone over for suspicion of that and you're just going to ask them and just simply take their word for it,
Right.
granted, yes, you can see things, you can see glossy eyes, you can see, slurred or hear slurred speech or whatever. There's certain things that they look for, but people can also hide it very well.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he's saying that he's pulling them over for that reason and doesn't even bother to even give Brian
Like a field
any sort
sobriety
of
test. Yeah.
exactly, and that's
It's
another red
just,
flag.
yeah. And I'll tell you, after watching that the very first time, my jaw was on the floor because maybe it's just because like you, I've been noticing these things for a while now. And it just stood out. I was like, I have never been arrested, but I have been in a handful of situations with police. And even one was just a statement about something I observed. And I still, first thing I was asked was for my identification. So that alone, I mean, him coming home without her, the
And
we know
they
where
didn't even
he
offer
is,
they didn't
the
even bother to
body
ask
cam.
them for their driver's licenses
Right.
until like 45 minutes into the body cam footage. It's like, now you're just finally asking for their identification. It's almost like they already knew who they were. Isn't that kind of
Exactly.
weird?
It's very
Sorry,
weird.
go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I end up over talking over you because I get
No,
so
no,
ramped up.
I'm so
But
glad you came up. This is awesome.
it's just some stunning stuff. And now I can't tell you what it all means, except for, I mean, I have my own theories, but I'm not sure that I'm willing to go there quite yet. But just out in public like this. But you have to at least start with noticing these things and not just turning a blind eye to it. It doesn't mean you have to unravel it, but to stay aware is the my takeaway. And I don't have the answers, but I just know, like, I'd rather be aware and prepared as much as I can for whatever than to have my head in the sand like the people around me. My mother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. My husband was not like that. I mean, he was open-minded like I was, and he saw things, for what they were. Um, but this is also an older generation that is very much go, that these people are in important positions and they wouldn't be there if they were going to lie to you. I mean, it sounds so elementary, but I grew up with that kind of thing. Like, you're supposed to trust your doctors, trust police, just uh
Government, yeah.
just inherently. Like, you're not supposed to question these people if they're in positions
And
of power.
you're just supposed to believe them. Why? Because they're of higher authority. Like, they're
Right.
just
And that's the
people like anybody
brainwashing
else.
my parents experienced, right? So that gets trickled down, you know, through the generations. And I'm just really grateful that, as frustrating as it all is, I'm more grateful to see it than to not like some people that I know. So
Right. No, yeah, same. And yeah, I definitely agree. It's and once you've seen it, or once you're awake, there's no turning back, unfortunately. And it is scary to know all of that and everything that's going on. But again, yeah, I definitely would rather be awake than be asleep, for sure. And
yeah,
you have that whole um conspiracy theorists, like ad hominem thing, where it's used to discredit people, um and make people look crazy who actually do think logically and ask
right,
questions
right.
and you know
Well, I
um
don't know. I like I said, I've never done this before, but I just thought about it. I wanted to say hi to the chat and thanks for being
no,
here, guys.
I appreciate you coming up. This has been
Yeah.
awesome.
Hey, can I mention anyone in there or no?
Yeah, of course.
Christy said, yeah, baby boomers worship authority no matter how corrupt. And I feel that is just perfectly put. And like I just said, it to me, it speaks to the brainwashing that they have experienced. And I was just trying to talk to my mom about something just now, and before I hopped on with you, and she said, you waste so much time thinking about these things. They don't matter, and I don't care. And I just thought, wow. Um, I don't know if that's a defense mechanism, caused by stressful life, or I don't know. But
Probably. But and then
how,
you have to remember too that a lot of people, like, and especially like our parents, you're talking about years and years of something that they believe,
right,
like their beliefs or they believed happened, whether it be like the moon landing or whatever.
right.
You're going against their beliefs,
And
and
yeah,
so
they
again,
don't
they
want
don't want
that
to go there.
shattered. Right, right.
Right.
I
And
agree. And
it's
I
a
don't want to
lot of people don't
necessarily
want
be
to
the
admit
one
that
to,
they were, or know that they were duped, one, and two, admit that they were duped. And I completely understand that. And I
yeah,
try to remember that
yeah,
when I do these live streams and when I make videos, because it does get frustrating sometimes, definitely. But I just remember that I was there at one point as well. But 9/11 was one of the. It only takes one thing, pretty much.
Exactly. And for
And
me, it was
9/11 was a huge
9/11.
eye opener. But
Yeah.
I wasn't just awake after 9/11. I did the research. I
Yeah.
watched video after video after video, and that's what people have to do. Like, so I can only give this information that I've learned, like from
Yeah.
Richard Dolan and Ole Damagard and these other channel creators that have pointed out the deception and the corruption with our government and with the news and whatnot.
It's
They
all
have to
one
be
big system as far as I can tell,
right.
whether it's,
It's all controlled for sure,
yeah.
and it's the world's a stage,
Yeah.
100%. And
Well, and if you
it's
think in
sad.
terms of police and okay, law enforcement or with military. So military, look at what they do in basic training. They basically break you down and rebuild you how they want, right? And to get you to do the things that average humans would otherwise be repulsed by, right? It's to desensitize them because they're going into war. I can't imagine. And then they come home and they are just don't even know how to operate because they don't have someone telling them, like giving them orders. I know I'm being vague here or just across the board. That's
No,
obviously not everyone's story, but we
I'm
see examples of it often where they come home and they just struggle, and it's just horrible to see. But I'm more speaking to the mentality of um following orders, right? And
mhm.
then when it comes to law enforcement, there's an absolute brotherhood there where they protect each other, right or wrong. And I have a detective friend in Indianapolis, and I ask him about these things sometimes. And some things he's been, pretty open about, but some things I can tell he's giving me the prepared answer. And I just find that interesting. It's like, I wonder if they even realize their part in all of this. I I
Yeah,
doubt it for a
exactly.
lot of people. I think that they just are going with the narrative of their career, of what they have been fed their whole lives, and so on. So, you know, when you look at people like us and they want to say, you're crazy conspiracy theorists, how could you control that many people? It's like, really? Have you never read anything about propaganda and how it works? And,
Hmm.
you know,
And it's been happening for years
subliminal,
and
yeah,
years and years. So
yeah, yeah. Subliminal messages, like there is more, that is not like a fringe topic. Believe me, the CIA would not put so many years into certain programs if they weren't getting some sort of payout from it.
right.
And for them to say, well, they're not doing that anymore. It's like, really, if they gained results when they were doing it the first time, you think they're going to not continue? That does not. So again, part of it is just being real with yourself of what is common sense and what is not. And I'm not saying, we know it all and we have it all figured out. Not at all. But I think what we are doing is exposing some things that um, may not just be obvious to everyone. But I do think it's important that whether they accept this information or not, it's important to know, and or at least to be given the opportunity to. And so I'm not gonna shut up. If they think I'm crazy, they think I'm crazy. I don't really care. I really don't.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't care. Call me a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Right.
At least I know that I can think for myself, and and
Exactly.
I'm not controlled by everything and believe everything I hear as well. And there is a possibility to, like, as far as like our parents go and stuff, like I tried. I'm very anti moon landing. I won't get into that, but I don't believe we went
Right.
at all. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So I was trying to point out to my mom like these inconsistencies about the moon landing and stuff. And again, she's someone that was there. She watched it on television. So she believes it really happened because if you saw it on television, then it must be real. Just like if you see the Chris Watts body cam footage, then it must be real. Or
Right.
the Petito body cam footage. No, it doesn't mean anything's real. It just means that you're someone's portraying it as that. But the moon landing was a little difficult. It still has been difficult to wake my mom up because for whatever reason. But like, so when I started to like push too much and she started to get like irritated, I stepped back, and then there was a show on television that she told me about, and there was like a conspiracy theorist guy. It was on the Science Channel, so I already knew the outcome was going to be that it was going to come at the end of the show that there was indeed actually they did land on the moon,
Right.
but there was like an ex-astronaut, and a conspiracy theorist, and a retired FBI agent or something.
Yeah.
And so they went around and talked to different people. I don't know if you've seen this or not. I can't remember the name of the show, but so she watched that, and with just the conspiracy theorist guy on there, she started saying, actually, I did think that was a little odd how he was able to like the president was able to call them from a rotary phone all the way with no delay.
Right.
So even though like it's her daughter that she didn't want to listen to all that much,
which
like
I mean, I don't know about you, Megan, but I'm used to that.
yeah. But I mean, she's still open-minded and stuff. But as long as it like even if it takes that to open up her mind,
you
and she's
cracked
still on the fence about it.
Yeah,
but
you caused a little crack to cause some question, and now she's starting
right.
to, the name of
And
your
nobody
channel.
wants
She's
to be
starting to think for herself on these things a little bit.
right. And nobody
That's
wants to be
great.
put in a corner and say, what do you mean? You think that, like, because people get to like they put a shield up and they get very defensive and they want to turn and run. So I backed off. But now, and I started, I was pointing out like chemtrails to her and stuff, and she's pointing them out to me now. So there is a possibility to wake people up, even in ones like, like baby boomers and whatnot. So it is possible, is what I'm saying. But yeah, for sure. It's
I just wanted to mention Hard Eyes says, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a spoiler alertist.
that's funny. I know I didn't want to interrupt you, so I've just been saying hello to people texting and chat. But if you guys want to see the iPet goat video, put a 1 in the room, and then if you don't, put a 2. And if there's enough ones, I'll play the iPet goat video. And I don't know if you are familiar with that, the Pink Dahlia, where RB Truth mentions iPet goat. Did you see that?
I watched that. Yes.
Okay, so there's a video made called iPet goat, and
I think you should run it, because I think it would definitely I'm sure we could talk all night anyway, but I think it would bring up some pertinent points.
Okay,
it's up to you though. Do you want me to hop off of here?
No, you're more than welcome to stay on while I play it, and we can discuss it after. Sure. Yeah, it's I shared it on my D Live.
Thanks for letting me be here, by the way, and thanks chat for being so friendly.
Thanks for being here. This is awesome.
Yeah, and thanks chat for being so friendly and making me feel comfortable here. I appreciate that, guys.
Oh, if you didn't feel comfortable, that we would have a problem, because I don't have to worry about that. Luckily, with 99%.
I would honestly, Megan, I would not have called if I was worried about it. I've been in your chats and stuff, or not in your chat lives, but I've read enough of your chats and videos and things that I get a grasp for the community that's here, and so I would not have called if I would have been worried about it. But I just wanted to say thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Christy, real quick before I play the video, did you get the Discord link? Just let me know if you did. If not, I'll post it again. And hopefully, if it's buffering, I apologize ahead of time. But if you guys have been following me for a while, that's a given usually. So, okay, just give me 1 second.
Sure.
If I can find it, unless one of my moderators can find it before I can. I keep seeing iPet Goat too, but I don't see iPet Goat, or I don't see the original one. Let's see here.
Yeah, I think I've only seen the original one.
Oh, you have seen it? Oh, okay.
I've seen the original one.
I found it.
Okay.
Never mind. Moderators,
after,
maybe
Cam. You can watch the second one.
I know you've been here for a while, but I forgot to say hello. Okay. All right.
leaving us. Good night, Kelly Cat.
Is Callie leaving? Good night, Callie. Thanks for being here.
I think that's what I read. Yeah. Alicia, excuse me, Alicia Paricio, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, says, I noticed stuffed was a lie back when the OK City bombing happened. That was when I could see they were doing some very shady things. Also, Columbine and the Ramsey case, and she's right. And another one, and it's not as I don't know if people would even think about it this way, but this is what kind of where things started getting my attention. 9/11 was a definite like mind fracture. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
even Monica Lewinsky, right? The I think that maybe she was used, you know, to um put up a smoke screen. Like that situation maybe did happen, but I think it was put out the way it was to again look here, don't look over there.
That's
I
funny
know
you
that
mentioned that because,
yeah,
yeah,
we were doing
I
a lot of
never thought about
bombing.
that at the time.
Yeah, we were
Exactly.
doing a
Yeah,
lot of
I
bombing in Eastern Europe at that time. So
definitely a distraction. I agree. It's funny
yeah.
you mentioned that because
So there are
I have
ways
mentioned that.
that this happens that may not be, you know, like murders and all this kind of thing. It could be even like that. And I don't know. I'm 50, and I'm sure a lot of you are it's probably variety of ages here. Um, so I was an adult at that time, and I just remember that being like, why would they do this to this girl? Um, it seems like that would be the type of thing that would be handled behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And then when I heard about what was going on in Bosnia and over there, again, I don't want to misspeak here because I can't remember exactly what all went on. I'm not a walking encyclopedia, but that I know that we were bombing in Eastern Europe and people weren't talking about that. They didn't know about that. And I was like, what is going on here? This is bizarre. So I think that may have been my introduction into this, just my being cognizant of it, you know?
No, yeah, and even like let's say like maybe the O.J. Simpson case, it did actually happen, but or a lot of these other cases are like Maddie McCain. But it's again, it's why it's out of all the things, there's so much. Yeah, okay, he's a football player, he's a famous football player, great, but it's so much media hype. It really makes you wonder as well. So are they
Yeah.
just over exaggerated or over hyped up with all of the showing of everything.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely something to
And
question for sure. Hey, Buttercup.
that's a cute name. Hi, Buttercup.
All right, let's play this video real quick.
You go.
Okay, sorry about the buffer party. Doesn't matter anyways because it's not playing anyways. So I'll just put the link in the chat if anyone's interested. I do apologize.
Oh, no
Let me
worries.
stop this. My internet is super crappy right now. And I don't know why there's no sound because I did press sound. So anyways.
Yeah. I wasn't sure, like I said, I've never done this, and so I wasn't sure if I was what I was supposed to do on this end, if I was supposed to hit something, but I just wasn't.
Oh no, you're fine. It's just my crappy internet.
Okay.
That's all.
Are you out in the boondocks?
But no, I'm not actually. I have to send my modem in, and I've just been too lazy to go to Kinko's and get a printer return receipt because I don't have any ink for my printer, and I don't print things that much, so I don't want to spend all that money to print it. And it's just a pain in the butt, but I should probably do it considering that I'm a streamer. But that's okay. I don't want to get any copyright anyway. So
Right.
I will put the link in the chat. But I do have to make some dinner. So I'm probably going to end this, but I'm so glad that you came up here, the Pink Dahlia. This was amazing. And I'm glad I did it. And I will definitely do more of these panels for sure.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. And thank you, chat.
Yeah, of course.
I really appreciate the opportunity. And my name's Jenny, by the way. There's no
Nice
need
to
for
meet you,
there's no reason for me to hide. But when I just wasn't sure, I don't know, feeling a little like I said, just haven't done this before. So
No,
but my name is
you
Jenny,
did
and I'd love
fantastic.
to talk again sometime, Megan. Like I
Of
said,
course.
it's one thing to be an observer, but when you have obviously we all have so many thoughts on this, and I think talking it out helps. It's hard to do that through messages, for me anyway.
Definitely, yeah.
And you can't possibly, but I think these panels are great if you are up for it in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to do more of these, and I always want to hear your guys' opinions and hear your guys' thoughts, and if you guys have any questions, because I know I'm not the best with answering questions in the chat for sure. I'm trying to improve on that, but yeah, what you guys are thinking and everything is important to me as well. So I'll definitely do these live streams more. I was just worried before, just because I mean the majority of people in my chats now, it's kind of like an echo chamber, but that's okay. And I appreciate everybody being here. But towards the beginning, when I try to do panels, if anybody wanted to come up, they always want to talk about the same thing that all the channel creators were talking about, like the Discovery and Nicole Kessinger, and that's not really what my channel is about, because it
just weaves in and out of it,
all,
right? It's like
right,
it's
and
just
it's
a
all
thread in it.
like,
Yeah.
it's all speculation, it's all hearsay, and I just based off what I'm trying to do in my channel, it's difficult for me to really delve into that speculation stuff for sure. But
Right.
either way, I'm open to all theories and possibilities. So again, I always go back and watch the replays and listen, and see what you guys have to say. So I definitely, your opinions are important to me as well. My opinion is not the only one that matters. So again, thank you for coming up here. I really appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate you having me. If you're gonna shut down, is there a way that you want me to get my number or info to you for just future conversations or something? Or
do you have Discord?
I don't think so.
I'll put my email in the chat, and if you want to email me.
Oh, that'd be great. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, of
That was
course.
something I had asked. So I will do, and I'll
Sounds
get
good.
my information to you.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks,
Great, Jenny.
Megan.
Nice
Thanks,
talking to you.
chat.
Thank
Everybody
you.
have a great night, okay?
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
So that was awesome. I'm so glad that Jenny came up. I'll definitely do these panels again, for sure. So if you guys, anyone's interested next time, please don't hesitate to come up. And Michelle as well. I know that we've been trying to go on one another's panel, and that was the first time. So Scotty, stop. You're on Discord. Funny. So yeah, so Michelle, I would love for you to come up sometime as well. I know that you got here a little late, which is perfectly okay. I'm just glad that you're here. And so we'll have to do that, Michelle, if you're interested. And Michelle, if you want to drop your link in the chat, don't hesitate. You know that. Kelsey as well. Sour D, Abnorm, please, if you're still here and you're listening, please drop your links in the chat, or if any of my moderators can drop their links in, or if any of the moderators have any channel creators that they like and that they want to promote, I trust your judgment. So please feel free to drop their links as well, because I always want to support other channel creators, especially smaller ones. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Red Sky. So again, thank you all for being here, and I will see you guys next time. And we'll go over the Gabby Petito case more. It's just such a circus, but yeah. So again, thanks everyone for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.